Hi everybody, good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining us again for one of our We Are Live events. You might have seen that we did a couple of these last year and they were a lot of fun, pretty successful. We've had a couple of thousand views on YouTube with them so far. And obviously with COVID and everything that's happened recently, one of the things that we were really missing was the chance to actually get out and about and to meet people, to see what's going on in the world of finance, in the world of technology, and to actually showcase what we're doing and kind of sharing everything that we've been up to. So we just had to think about how we could replicate that and how we could take it online, and here we are. That's exactly what this is all about. So do you all want to say hi?
Hi!
So yeah, the kind of the main thing that we were missing was, as I say, meeting other people and firms, and in particular tech is such a big part and has really gone to the forefront during COVID. Speaking of tech, we are trialling a brand new one right now, so hopefully everything's working smoothly. Just to give you a brief run through in case you haven't quite figured it all out yet, there's two parts to the technology. So the first bit is the networking section, which you will have hopefully already been in, and that's open again after this bit, so you'll actually have the chance to network amongst each other. What I would say is when you're in that bit, you should be able to speak to people one-on-one or also around a table, so it's really ideal if you can put your mics and your camera on when you're doing that and you get kind of the full experience of it.
If we have to do it, they have to do it.
That's true, yeah. What there will also be is, as kind of more and more people hopefully keep joining, it will actually open up in terms of levels. So it's very much like a real life exhibition. So you can pop around, you can go to different tables. Some of the tech that is being exhibited tonight will actually be there, and you should be able to see kind of dotted around the room their stands, so you can pop over and see them. And when you think you've done everything on your current floor, if you have a look on the left hand side, as more levels open up, you'll be able to see them and kind of move up and just very physically move around is the hope with it. Outside of networking is this bit, and it's just got everybody here looking at us. Your mics and cameras are off, but there is the obviously chat function, which is on the right hand side. So I think there's three different options down there. One is general chat. So if you haven't already, feel free to kind of pop any little messages in. Again, it helps us know that everything is working and we can kind of all say hi.
Because we are live.
We are live, we are. Yeah, name of the game. Within the general chat there's an arrow, and it can kind of break out into a couple of other bits, one of which is private chat. So we've been told by the people who provide the tech that if anything goes a bit glitchy, which can happen, you A, should do a refresh, which is the equivalent of off and on again, and we know fixes most things. B, if it still doesn't work, if you go into private chat and there should be a digital leaders in there, you can message them direct and they are there, also live, and we'll be able to kind of help you out and get things working. There's also a participants button, so you can see who else is on, see their profiles. If you haven't already, make sure you've updated yours so everybody can see you. Chat amongst yourselves, and there is a section for questions, so we will try and pick some up as we're going through. It is a very jam-packed show tonight. There is loads and loads that we wanted to show. And actually we had a load of questions submitted even as part of the registration, so much so that what we've decided on the spur of the moment today, as we always do, we're going to do a bit of a paper. So actually clearly the topic of technology and how it's going to empower financial advice and firms in future is just so key to everybody. So what we're actually going to do is a follow-up paper in a few weeks, which will look to address some of the questions, share some of the ideas and thoughts that everybody's had. So thank you for those that came in as part of the registration, but also do please keep popping them in. I think you can submit them anonymous, or if you see a question that somebody else has posted that you would really like the answer to, you can give it a thumbs up, a bit Facebook styley, and that'll kind of nudge it up, and we'll know that it's important to a lot of you. So do please do that, interact, say hi. I mentioned kind of doing a little refresh if anything goes wrong, and we're a few minutes in and it's all fine.
Believe. We're all still there.
As I'm talking to myself. Joking aside, our last two live events, anybody who's watched them will know that they haven't been 100% smooth. YouTube's gone down on us, wires have fallen out the back of TVs. These things happen, and actually when we were thinking about it, the fact is that happens with technology, and if Apple and Google and Facebook can't make things work smoothly 100% of the time, then nobody can, and I think it's fair that we should all be realistic about the tech that we're using. That's going to be the case. A single comma in a million lines of text can throw everything out. But what I think is really key and what's exciting and what we're seeing in finance right now is that despite tech being challenging, it's very tricky to get involved in when you're not techie yourself, as we've discovered. It's not cheap to get involved in. And actually there's still so many businesses, small and large, that are doing it, and that's actually some of the firms that we wanted to showcase tonight. Some of them are advice firms, and they're just trying to scratch their own itch, the problems that they've had. Some of them are bigger firms, and they're responding to the challenges that they're hearing that advisors have got. So we just thought it'd be lovely to showcase some of them, to support them, to kind of start working together, and we hope you do as well. And if you see anything that you like with them, then do go over and chat to them in the lounge. So just before we get into all of that and all the sexy tech stuff, you may remember, if you saw, we did a We Are Change initiative at our last live event in October, and that is our not-for-profit initiative, which was all about getting new people into financial services. That's gone swimmingly ever since, and we've done a little video just to update you all and bring you all up to date. So here's the video. So following the launch of the We Are Change initiative at our last live event, we were absolutely inundated with support from people, those who just immediately offered to pledge and to give us money and to really help us build this initiative into something a little bit special. Because of that, we realised that actually this needed even more structure around it, and it needed a bit of formation, and so we decided to launch the Verve Foundation. So this is a separate company, and it supports the not-for-profit initiatives that we'll be doing, the first one being We Are Change. Following this, we started to talk to some strategic partners, some of the larger companies in the UK that wanted to really help us build it and really give it that extra level of support. The pledges have then started to roll in. We've had advice firms, large and small, external firms. A huge thank you to Heather Hopkins of Next Wealth, who was our very first official sponsor, made a pledge and actually paid the entire 2 years up front, and for a not-for-profit initiative that's just getting off the ground, that made a huge difference.
The reason I wanted to get involved was because we've been so sheltered as an industry from a lot of the negative financial effects, and so it just seemed like a really simple, small way to give back a bit.
For us, we're quite a small firm, so there's only 8 of us. We've got our own sort of like graduate and training programme, but with the size of us, we can only bring in 1 person a year. So it was a great way for us to be able to kind of do a little bit more and extend our reach.
We have people that joined us in very junior positions and now taking on very senior roles. We've just seen so much benefit in having that kind of vibrancy in the team.
But if we want to encourage financial planners of tomorrow and next year and next decade, then I think it's incumbent on the profession to get together and making it easier to make a career out of financial planning and financial services.
I think that there is a kind of a nurturing, caring, philanthropic feeling when you contribute to a movement like this, which is designed to improve the future and help people who might otherwise not get an opportunity. But the hard-nosed businesswoman in me also knows that I need a pool of talent. The future of my business depends on the people that are currently training to be power planners and advisors.
So for all of those who've already made some pledges and started to contribute towards this, a huge, huge thank you from us and from the people who are going to be on our first cohort. So speaking of cohorts, as the pledges started to roll in, we felt confident that we could finally open the doors. We had ideas for a large marketing campaign, but it turns out we didn't need it. A few posts on social media, a little bit of sharing, and we've been absolutely bombarded. It's almost been too successful. In the first 5 days, we had over 300 applications, which is phenomenal. And these are mainly young people, often very qualified. Many of them already have experience. They may or may not have already considered a career in finance, but are really keen, enthusiastic, and just want that chance to get into a new job and a new career, which is exactly what this initiative was about. What we're looking to do with these applications is for those that make it through the process, pop them onto a We Are Change cohort and help them with their training. But actually, even those that aren't able to get a space, because we are limited in them right now, we are still open to be able to match them up with employers. And again, we've had advice firms that have contacted us who are looking to take on trainees, and we're starting to partner them up. The first day then for cohort 1 was on the 30th of March. It's all brand new to all of us, but it was a huge success. Here we go. Hi everybody. A big part of today is you guys all getting to know one another and hopefully all supporting each other through all of this. We've set away that first group of trainees. They are now undertaking their RO1 studying and learning all about the world of finance. So we'll keep everybody up to date, including those who've pledged, with the progress of them in any future cohorts. And actually, because there's been that many applicants, we want to build and put on more future cohorts as soon as we possibly can. Of course, that comes down to having the pledges and having the sponsors. So if this is an initiative you've been keeping an eye on and you've been thinking about, please know that by signing up and paying £85 a month, you'll be immediately making a difference this very next month to somebody who wants a career in finance and being able to help support them with their training and getting a career. Things have started to change. We are definitely moving into the post-COVID phase. Beer gardens have reopened this week. Everybody's very excited by it. But there are still a lot of challenges, particularly in hospitality, and nobody thinks that we're out of the woods entirely. We do feel, and it's becoming very tangible, that actually this initiative is starting to make a difference within financial services and within the broader economy. So just a huge thank you from everybody at Verve Group, everybody involved in the initiative, and we're really looking forward to building on this in future. High five! It was nice. Nailed it. Oh,
Wasn't that just the best? Honestly.
it makes me emotional.
It was really heartwarming. What gorgeous stories.
There was, you might have seen on kind of some of the social media that we shared, one of the guys who was on the day, Amrit, and he was just talking about how frustrated he'd felt and kind of dejected after a year of rejection, and just obviously because of COVID. And he's absolutely immediately just thrown himself into it. It's just been phenomenal. So just again, thank you.
Really, yeah, and from them, because
Absolutely.
he made a point of saying thank you, didn't he?
He really did. So yeah, it was just lovely. So nice to bring kind of so much new stuff and new people into the world of finance. And moving on to the tech part, which we are
Seamless.
Thank you. Super excited about. And actually, one of the first interviews, Nat, you did with Visible Capital.
I did, yes. So I spoke to Rob at Visible Capital, and actually the most exciting part of that was obviously this was all about showcasing tech that actually we hadn't heard of, and personally I'm not sure about you girls, but I hadn't heard of Visible Capital. But essentially they are software. It's a bit of open banking tech which advisors can use to get more down to the nitty-gritty of their clients and advising them. But I won't say too much. I won't kind of won't steal a thunder. But we do have a video which is showing us when I spoke with Ross a couple of weeks ago. Pre-hairdressers. Let's watch. Hi Ross, nice to see you again. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
So then Ross, do you want to talk me through your technology?
So we're Visible Capital. We're effectively a software business. We build software for the advisor market. In real summary, we're really trying to just get rid of all the manual data collection processes that are involved in financial advice by effectively creating financial plumbing using technology. So our software allows you to gather data on your customer and get it straight into your back office, without having to go through lengthy questionnaires, which, especially now post-COVID, is probably a lot more useful than it would have been in the past. Although it's always good to get rid of the paper processes and whatnot.
Absolutely. So you mentioned there around getting rid of the paper processes and that kind of manual process that we're all so used to. What are the main benefits, do you think, of the tech?
So there's benefits for the customer. They can now get better advice straight off the bat. The advisor is going to start the conversation with a complete income and expenditure report. So they can get straight off the bat giving advice rather than asking for lots of, questions and data. And of course, it allows them to actually maybe, understand where there could be opportunities to, offer better products for the customer, identify new products themselves through wider data sets by looking across the customer base. And of course, it provides that sort of compliant paper trail. It's accurate, regulated data. We're regulated by the FCA. We're ISO 27001 compliant. So all that data that we eventually put into your back office is, it's accurate. It's perfect for MiFID II ongoing suitability.
And just lastly, Ross, in terms of the dreaded C word, which is now COVID, not compliance, how has that affected Visible Capital? Have you seen it kind of accelerate some growth and innovation, or have we kind of had to sit tight?
No, being a technology business. It's been helpful being in this line of work because we're able to work remotely anyway. And most of us were doing the odd day or two here or there. So it works for a lot of people. It's been useful as well for getting out to see people, because in the olden days, I maybe would have, flown down to London for a couple of hours and, maybe meet a couple of people. Now I can actually get, the software in the hand of decision makers, like 4 or 5 at a time, and say, look, this is how it works. Do you want a trial? We'll set it up right now. So, getting to market's actually, in theory, been easier. But I didn't get into this to sit at home and chat to people on the internet. I want to actually go out and meet people. So I am desperate to get back out again.
Well, hopefully it's not too long before that happens. Thanks for that, Ross. It was really good to speak to you. Let's see a little bit more of the technology with your demo.
Thanks very much.
Wow, that was good, wasn't it? Cheeky little demo. I was like you, Nat. I hadn't heard of Visible Capital, but I do really, really like the concept. The open banking's, potentially things we've seen before, but I just love the idea of building it into your financial plan. It'll help with cash flow. It's, I don't know how many times I see clients' accounts who say, oh, I only spend so much a month on eating out, £100 a month.
I feel like you're
eating
Kathy specifically then.
Yeah, well, it was. Yeah, and we've come across it actually in the podcast when Kathy had, it turns out, a cost reduction that none of us knew about. Other coffee shops are available.
That's just top spender, weren't you?
Top 5% of Kathy. We're all just surprised it wasn't
Visible seccl.tech would have highlighted that a lot sooner.
It would have, and it would have automatically built it in, which I think it's actually a good thing for those people who lie to themselves about how much they spend on coffee. But actually, using tech to help advisors is a really great concept, like I say, and it's one that I picked up with Claire Bezic from Digi, and we've got another video to show that. So roll VT. So I think the first thing that we would like to hear from you is a little short snip about the tech and what it means.
Okay. Digi is a product. It combines discretionary fund management, investment platform and technology to enable the advisors to provide advice for all. We've worked with advisors for probably around nearly 20 years, and I have to say I'm going to stop counting now because I think that's sufficient. And we recognise the real issues they have when it comes to delivering advice and ongoing MiFID II compliance reviews. So with our system, what we've done is we have automated the process of recommendation, reconciliation, review, which reduces the operational costs and ensures they have an efficient, compliant advice process. This enables advisors to service more clients, which in turn increases their advisor fees. And what we can do is we can help support them embedding a new proposition for their smaller clients. They may also be thinking about the next generation of clients that they want to bring through. And also if they're taking on new advisors and they just want a simplified advice process for them to follow initially as well. So we know that our advisors have been looking for ways that they can service a smaller client proposition.
Do you feel that you have a direct competition, or is it a very unique place in the market?
I think it's a very unique place in the market. We have, obviously, there are a number of platforms out there. There are various different investment propositions available to IFAs. But I feel we are the only platform and DFM service on the marketplace where we can tailor the systems and the reports to the firm's own brand and style. So they don't lose their own tone of voice. Every firm is different. And we are very keen to work with IFAs closely. We like to become an extension of their team. We like them to become an extension of our team. So we'll support them in the way we embed the system, but also they'll support us ongoing for how the system looks for the future.
Oh, fab. Claire, well, thank you very much for your time. And we'll be looking forward to seeing your demos.
That's great. And thank you for your time as well.
Well, I love that. I think that's quite a unique offering in terms of platforms, being able to actually pull all of that information
that's stored on the platform through to the suitability reports, which I bet you love those reports.
Those reports are powered by parasols.
Parasols, but they look amazing. I mean,
Thought you'd like that part.
It's in fact almost as exciting as I've just heard some breaking news that Will and Kate have just landed at Teesside. Now, I'm not saying they've come to watch the show.
I'm going to say, I bet we just see a fleet of Rolls Royces. Or
I
whatever.
know, but I'm pleased that Mark, the producer, curtsied earlier, so at least we know.
Sorry.
Sorry, I was just going to say it's good to see actually there's been a lot of changes and news about platforms recently, so it's nice to see that there is actually some new ones coming through and out there.
There is, and I'm going to take that link because actually what I was going to say is that we've also spoken to seccl recently, and you might have seen them. They've been in the news quite a lot. They've definitely made headlines with their new technology in the world of platforms, and I chatted with Dan Marsh at seccl. Hiya Dan, thank you so much for joining and doing this with us today. So to start with, do you want to tell people a little bit about seccl and give us a 1-minute elevator pitch?
Fundamentally, what seccl does is seccl provides the technology and the infrastructure to allow financial advice businesses and discretionary fund managers with the right permissions to operate their own investment platforms for their clients and for the wider market as a whole.
Fab, thank you. So what would you say the main benefits of using your technology?
Yeah, so the main benefit really is that the technology has been redesigned from the ground up. So a lot of infrastructure in this market, for good reasons, but historic reasons, is a kind of combination of layers of technology from different generations. And so it's a little bit clunky, it's a little bit inefficient, and often requires large amounts of human labor to actually make it work for the use case that it's looking for. So the main benefit, I think, of seccl is that we've started building from the ground up 5 years ago. We're now in a position where our technology moves faster, we're able to build things quicker. Within the confines of the technology that we have, each firm will have its own USPs. They'll decide what their own pricing is. They'll decide what investments they want to allow their customers. Do they want to allow just advised customers? Do they want to say, actually, you can be advised and actually used to have this pot with Hargreaves, but actually wouldn't it make a lot more sense for this to be on a more cost-effective platform run by us?
So one of the things I wanted to get my head around is what's the key difference between having a seccl-powered platform and actually just white labelling a platform?
Yeah, so it's a really good question. The market doesn't get it right, and probably not helped by the fact that some people who do white label like to pretend that they're not white labeling, but fundamentally it's a massive difference. So when you white label someone else's platform, they're still the platform. So if you go into their T's and C's, they are still the platform. Legally, they're still the platform. In front of the regulator, they're still the platform. You can't customize what's available on the platform, what products are there, what fees are charged, what investments you may allow clients to do, because it's driven by the platform. Can't control that part of the proposition. Being your own platform is the same in reverse. With someone else's platform, you take no regulatory risk. You take some regulatory risk operating your own platform. For the flexibility to choose your own platform, you have to make sure it's suitable for your customer base.
So why should people choose your technology, and how do you say you're different to your competitors?
Good question. So I think we do have competitors. I wouldn't say we have any competitors doing the exact same thing as us. We have competitors who our customers may also use. Obviously, the natural competitor to us is other investment platforms in the market. So instead of the advisor running their own platform, they just take someone else's, the Transact, all the names that you'll be well aware of. I think for us, the main piece is actually around control. So in our model, the advisor who has done all the hard work for winning and owning the client relationship, generally, whenever you see a survey of advisor service, customers love it. The bits customers don't like is when they go away from their advisor and start dealing with some platform administrator who, for all the best will in the world, is constrained by the technology and isn't necessarily that close to the customer. So in our model, if we look at one of our companies, a business called P1, they're the platform. They understand the customers far better than we're going to understand them, and better than other platforms in the market. So the customer service that they offer is exactly the same as the customer service that the advisor offers to the clients directly. So in our model, you're signing an agreement with the platform. The platform is run by the person who understands the advised client the best.
Thank you, Dan. That's brilliant. Thank you.
I love that. Wasn't that a funky little demo? I know. Honestly,
I was going to say funky.
I know. Sorry, yeah, I just love a funky video, and that was a funky video. But you know what I really did like about that funky video aside, I won't say funky again, was actually some of the stuff he was saying around the white label technology, and actually that we've gone beyond just white labeling other people's tech these days, but actually seeing people actually create some ownership and creating their own solutions to their own challenges, which I really liked. And I know, Kim, you've had similar conversations, haven't you?
I have, yeah. So I've been chatting to Gwirith at Elen. So he's actually a client of ours, still actively advising and running his own business. But he has created his own back office CRM system just from some of the frustrations he's had himself. So take a listen to his video. So if you could tell us about Elen in 1 minute, what would your elevator pitch be?
I'd say Elen is a modern, really simple, intuitive practice management and client management software that's designed to be a help rather than a hindrance to advisors who want to improve their operational efficiency so that they can focus on higher value activities. And in time, through integrations with other softwares, with platforms, with use of bots and AI, we want to eliminate any task and every task that should be automated so that advisors can deliver an improved service to their clients and to more clients.
So you're an advisor yourself. I mean, is that kind of where the idea came from for the software in the first place, your frustrations?
Yeah, I think it's a company born of frustration, exactly as you said. So I spent 17 years, really. I worked in all sorts of advice firms, large national firms, small local firms, legal firms. And the constant frustration was the inability either to find a back office system that did what we wanted it to do, or to get companies to adopt a back office system. And I can understand that, the reticence, because certainly it's a lot of work involved. And in the end, I just thought, well, I'll just build it myself and build something that's, not going to get in the way, that's going to be easy to adopt, easy to start working with.
Yeah, fab. What would you say sort of the main features and benefits are of Elen?
As I say, the main benefit really is that it's really simple and intuitive to use. So it doesn't get in the way of you doing your job. You can use it on your tablet or on your mobile.
Okay.
Very easily. It's fully functional on all platforms. And it'll really enable you to run your practice efficiently, whether it's getting e-signatures, whether it's sharing data with a platform, whether it's creating workflows. In time, what we want to do is to use things like AI and bots and deep learning so that really any task that could or should be automated is automated, so that the software gets out of the way in a sense rather than being, an extra step you have to take.
Yeah. How's COVID impacted on your plans with the innovation? Has it impacted it at all?
I think COVID has highlighted a lot of frustrations, I think, that advisors already felt under the surface. It's revealed what's actually possible for advisors in terms of the different ways they can work with their clients and the different ways they can work within their businesses. And I think Elen certainly will be a huge benefit to advisors who want to work more efficiently, provide a better service, and work remotely as well.
Yeah, okay. I suppose what would you say is the differences then between Elen and some of its competitors?
The main difference, I think, is that because we're a new technology, the things we're going to be able to do in terms of integrations with other softwares and with platforms is going to make a huge difference, I think, to advisory practices. It's going to mean that they can provide a much sleeker service to their clients. It's going to mean that they can look after a lot more clients, I think, in time. I think the solution to the advice gap is not robo-advice as we know it currently, but just qualified quality advisors having the tools to provide better advice to more people.
All right, well, thanks very much for joining us and telling us more about Elen, and we'll send out further details for those who want to know more.
Great, thank you very much.
The future of back office systems for financial advisors and planners is in simplicity, in a clean user interface, in fairness, and in ease of use, and that's what Elen is. It's a system built by financial advisors for financial advisors. It's the back office software financial advisors will actually love to use, and that's why more and more advisors and planners are already signing up. Elen software, go to the website elen.co and start your 1 month free trial today.
Oh, well, nice to see you, Gwyneth, again. Hi. That was one of the videos that I was really looking forward to, actually. I know I've spoken to him previously, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm sure all the Welsh people watching will, but I think Elen might mean light in Welsh, which I just thought was really interesting because I feel there's a lot of advisor-led innovation and technology happening in the market right now, and it's almost like there is a light being shone on to the problems and it's all coming to the forefront, and it's just lovely to see lots of innovation and people finding solutions and things to problems that we're seeing for a lot of, we've seen for all time, really. And, funnily enough, speaking of people who are business owners and are driving the industry forward and are shining a light, I know somebody a little bit like that who has an update on Verve, which I'm really looking forward to. Actually.
I do. So we didn't. This event isn't all around Verve and our updates as the last two were, but obviously because it is us and Verve, and I do like to drive everybody insane with my new ideas. I just wanted to take literally a couple of minutes just to really quickly update you on a couple of things. So it wouldn't be a live event without the additional drama of putting a brand new website live. Every time. Sorry, Sam.
We're running out of websites. Be a new business next time.
This one has gone a little bit smoother. So what happened was a couple of years ago we launched the Art of Finance, and at the same time we launched Verve, and Verve was essentially just intended as a brand that would kind of pull Parasol, Apricity and the Art of Finance together, just to kind of show firms that we were all part of one family. What's happened since we launched that is Verve has actually developed out itself, so we have now a range of services that advisor firms have asked us for, and that we've then developed in response to it. So that could be around their centralised investment propositions, their platform due diligence. We've been doing marketing support for some firms. We've actually launched like a couple of extra ones in terms of templates and so on, and basically Verve has become anything that isn't paraplanning, compliance or training we can do at Verve. So there was only
there's a lot of things, isn't there?
There's quite a lot of things.
What I was going to say is internally we call it Vervices, but
we do call it Vervices.
But that's not for production, sorry.
So basically the website needed a refresh to reflect that. It went live today, so if you haven't seen it already, because you won't have, because we didn't tell anybody until we made sure it was all working this time, you can pop on over, you can see what's already there. It pulls together the We Are Change initiative. It shows a bit more on the foundation, just who we are and what we stand for and our mission, which it's just lovely to kind of see it go to that next level. And there are a couple of elements on there that are already showing us coming soon because they're in the pipeline and being built. There's about another 15 behind the scenes that we haven't put on yet, but will be also coming soon. And it is this kind of ongoing, as I said, those services came from responding to what advisors were asking. And were telling us that they needed in their businesses. And the same with the We Are Change initiative. Our focus and our mission at Verve is to really genuinely get everybody, and I mean everybody in financial services to work together. So that's not, oh, you know, we're a support company, or you're an advisor, or you're a product provider, or you're a platform. Every single person that I speak to wants to do the right thing for the end client and wants to help push financial services forward. And the best way to do that is to get rid of any them and us and actually just all work together. And so what we're also going to announce just now is our conference, which we wanted to do last year. You can probably guess why we didn't do it last year.
Thanks, COVID.
We are putting live this year. We're going to keep with the same theme. Last year it was entitled Evolution, and I think finance as a profession, almost, is going through evolution more than ever. So that's absolutely still the same theme, because there's still a lot more that we want to do together. There's going to be a huge amount within that conference. It's obviously, because it's us, not going to be your traditional, typical financial services conference. It's not a them and us in terms of your providers are paying to exhibit and give you some free stress balls, although we do like a stress ball.
Or a pen.
Or a pen.
Can't
Or
go
a power bank, if you've got your pack. Do you like a power bank? It's getting together and it's working together. There's lots more to come on that. I won't go into it all now. What I would say is just save the date, and the date is the 1st of September. And if you're thinking that sounds very soon, you're right, it is.
Just got really warm in here.
We are aware of the challenges of the year. We won't do anything that makes anybody unsafe. Absolutely, we'll take all of our responsibilities as we need to. But ultimately, according to everything that we've been told so far, the 1st of September should be fine to do an event. And because it's Verve, and we like to be ahead of the curve, we're just going to do it. We're going to be brave. We're putting it in the diary. It's in London, 1st of September, save the date. More will be revealed very soon. And then the last little update, or not so little update, is just specifically in terms of the Art of Finance. So we have done a bit on socials recently around the new Art of Finance website. Again, it's evolved from what it was initially. It's expanded out. We've done a lot in terms of practical skills training, which we still think wasn't existing in financial services beforehand. We've built out in terms of exam training to support that, because we know how much people need that. Where we'd got to was one of the biggest requirements was actually to provide people with question banks and study packs, and just really help them get familiar with the RO study material, which is absolutely great, and we can build that because we already had the content from the study days we were doing. However, to best use that, the feedback we got was that they're the kind of things people like to do on the go, rather than kind of sitting and clicking through a web browser, which obviously leads itself to an app.
Wanted a drum roll then.
So the Art of Finance app is currently sat with Apple. I referenced them earlier. They're not great because they're a bit slower than they told us they would be. It is with Apple. There is an app. Once that comes out, all of the existing Art of Finance online modules, supported programs, the entire course catalogue will be in the app. But what will also be in there is the question banks, which we know is a huge, huge demand for people and means that you can do it on the go. And what we are offering everybody who's watching tonight is the chance to get one of those for free. So if you or anybody in your firm is sitting an RO exam anytime in the coming months, then there is the possibility to get in, download the app, get a question bank for free, play around, hopefully help you sail through your exam first time. Any feedback we would absolutely love on it, and we'll send a little bit more information about that and how to access it very, very soon. So here's just a little demo on the app and what it looks like.
banks.
I know.
Honestly,
I know.
I would have loved those question banks when I was studying.
Oh no, but
we didn't have them, did we?
Oh well, we didn't have technology when we
You know, that just them slates and chalk. It's awful, isn't it?
Trying to do it. So moving back into our tech showcase, and we do have a little bit more. So just before the little Verve interlude and the updates, Kim actually introduced Elen and the back office system, and I think you mentioned that obviously back office was something that advisors have felt frustrations with, and actually they're not the only new entrant to the market, are they?
Yeah, no, absolutely not. And yeah, if I had £1 for every time an advisor had a bit of a bugbear with the back office systems, yeah, I don't think I'd be sat here. So. But from one to another, I also chatted with Lucy at Advisor Cloud. Advisor Cloud's been around for a little while. You may not have heard of them, so here's a video to tell you a little more. Right, okay, Lucy. So tell us a little bit about Advisor Cloud in 1 minute, elevator pitch style.
Okay, so Advisor Cloud is a really simple office-based financial services system, but we're not like any others. We've got financial service industry experience between a lot of us in varying different roles. Our best features, we've got a very simple to use fee and commission reconciliation, straightforward, links into RMAR reporting, saves on any extra accounting software. We've got several provider integrations for valuations and fees. That's a growing list. We've got unlimited volume for document storage and at no extra costs.
Right, okay, fab.
We do training and direct access to any of our team members. We don't feel that you need to build a complicated system and then charge for the training for it. Simplicity and efficiency for IFAs. Back office systems, you know, we see as being part of the team. It needs to be running together, and that's where we like to think that all the members of the IFA team are important and all have different uses and needs. So we like to think that we could listen to them and help them, and them help us continue the system.
Yeah.
What we've come up with is a Verve special.
Right, okay, fab.
We reckon we can promise that we can cut anyone's back office cost by 40%.
Oh,
so,
wow. Hot off the press, people.
Come and have a chat to us.
Brilliant. Okay, so thanks very much for joining us, and we'll speak to you soon.
Okay, thanks very much.
I don't know any advisors or anybody who isn't going to be pleased with a cheeky 40% saving.
Yeah, absolutely.
Literally can't go wrong. I think what I found interesting about that was just the pulling together of all the different elements. So, you know, your document storage, whereas you might be paying for Dropbox or something, your client portals, and there's so many different software elements out there. To have something that kind of integrates it all together.
Yeah, which you can understand is what makes a saving.
Yeah, absolutely.
And actually, sorry, just with integration, so it was, I mentioned at the beginning that there were some questions when people were registering, and quite a lot of them were talking about exactly that. There was questions around APIs, who's integrating. I think Paul's put a message in into the group chat about which CRMs and platforms have already been completed in their integrations. It's clearly very topical, and I would sit a little bit on the fence in the sense of I feel like I feel like the conversation has moved towards people wanting, understandably, everything to be completely seamless and go from A to Z with absolutely no issue whatsoever. That might work for some firms, it might not for others, and I think that's always been the key in terms of financial services, knowing your business and knowing which bits matter to you. And actually the odd, you know, if you think of your iPhone, the amount of apps that are on there, not everything is speaking to each other. What they are is individually very usable, and you can do that to kind of support what you need to do. Having said that, I think integrations, well, I know integrations have rapidly increased, and APIs, how they used to exist, just are on a different level entirely. They absolutely can just turn one bit of technology into something completely different. So I think it's a key part of the paper that we decided today that we're going to release. We'll pull something, make some notes. It's never a dull moment, is there? Yeah, I think we'll do some research on it in terms of the practicalities. I just think it's important to not immediately assume that the nirvana is that everything speaks to everything, because it's horses for courses, and what works for one firm won't work for another. However, I think integrations is really key and is something that came up on our next demo.
Which is handy, because actually I spoke to Curtis at Fintegrate, and I've got a little video there, so that was a seamless link. Hi Gerdit, how are you?
Hi Joe.
So do you want to just start off by telling us a little bit about the tech?
So Fintegrate is a new intuitive financial planning solution that helps streamline and automate the various tasks that are often quoted by financial planners as being the most laborious and time consuming. Fintegrate's customizable features and integration designed to provide complete control, resulting in a digital advice solution that's specifically aligned to each firm's centralized investment proposition. So what you currently see today in Fintegrate is just the start.
So can you tell me a little bit about where the ideas from the tech came from, and how it got off the ground, and the origin story, if you like, of Fintegrate?
Okay, so Fintegrate was born out of a frustration with the current suite of digital, financial planning tools in the market. And often we felt we were, being shoehorned into these tools that didn't really meet our needs. So we decided to spend, a considerable amount of time researching the current tools in the market, speaking to advisory firms to understand, if they shared the same frustrations. We also spoke to a number of key figures within the industry who, instantly recognised how we were able to address, a number of kind of widespread problems.
Oh, fabulous. Well, thank you very much for your time. It's been really interesting speaking to you, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the demo video that you've prepared.
Upon logging into Fintegrate, the first page you see is the client dashboard. Here is where you create your client case, whether that relate to an existing client for whom you're undertaking a review, or a new client you're advising for the first time. Firms using IntelliFlow as their back office system can take advantage of our integration, allowing them to automatically pull through client, policy and investment data at the click of a button. Once you've created your client case, you're ready to go. Built to work in conjunction with cash flow modelling, Fintegrate's intuitive advanced risk modelling allows you to determine a range of key client risk characteristics as prescribed by the FCA, from investment time horizon, knowledge and experience, to an evaluation of an individual's need, willingness and ability to take risks. Fintegrate leaves no stone left unturned. Through integration with EV, a UK market leader in the provision of investment forecasting, asset modelling and risk management, firms can select from a range of preferred risk scales from 1 to 5, 1 to 7 or 1 to 10. Should the client hold any existing policies you're wanting to review, there is no limit to the number of policies that can be included. Here we can capture full policy details to include details of underlying holdings, whether they be individual funds or funds comprising a model portfolio. Through integration with FE Fund Info, we have access to full universe fund data. Having captured full details of any existing policies, Fintegrate then provides an overall assessment of these, looking at overall costs and charges, investment performance and risk. From here, the user can then build their recommendations, whether this be for existing policies or new sums to be invested. In terms of existing policies, Fintegrate captures the full range of recommendation possibilities. Now here is where all the really clever stuff happens. You may have noticed on the initial risk analysis page this included a CIP selection drop-down feature. Well, there was a very specific reason for this. Once signed up with Fintegrate, we take the time to sit down with each firm to truly understand their centralised investment proposition, from preferred platforms, details of any discounted platform terms to chosen investment solutions. Once all this information is collated, it is then built into the system so that any recommendations are automatically aligned to your CIP. No more manual calculations, all automated, helping mitigate business risk and reducing time spent on these processes by up to 70%. After making your recommendations, you're then able to carry out a direct comparison of the client's existing portfolio versus the recommended portfolio, looking at key areas such as risk, costs and charges, asset allocation, and investment performance. From here, you can then insert details of any fees for advice, both initial and ongoing. This can be inserted on either a monetary and/or a percentage basis. The final stage of the process includes what we refer to as the IPS, that's the Investment Policy Statement. This stage brings together all the prior research, analysis and recommendations together into a single summary. In addition, in order to comply with MiFID II regulations, we've also built in an automated illustration of aggregated costs and charges, which can be viewed at individual policy level. From a client reporting perspective, you're then able to generate a fully automated investment policy statement. This is a white-labelled, jargon-free, clearly presented report that clients will actually enjoy reading.
Oh, I wonder if any of the eagle-eyed amongst you saw something slightly unusual at the start of that video.
I cannot imagine.
Or should I say just an everyday occurrence in this office. I love that one. It's a bit like the Swiss Army knife of research. When I was chatting to Jo about that, she was just saying about how handy it is to have something that pulls all of that information together in one place. When you're normally sort of doing that research, you're rekeying it in and out of different documents. So yeah, great one. And they specifically mentioned actually that it links to IntelliFlow, who Nat has been chatting with.
I feel like lots of them have said that, and obviously the key thing is that we just talked about integration, and obviously IntelliFlow planning is generally comes up all of the time, so it seems only fair that I spoke to them too and got the update from them. So let's see when I spoke to Rob at IntelliFlow planning. Right then, Rob, give me your elevator pitch. Tell me all about the technology.
So I think the key thing when talking about cash flow modelling is that it's seen as an essential part of the process now in terms of financial planning. But those that have mastered it are still in the minority. Certainly people that we speak to, it's a massive range of how people have adopted technology and certainly cash flow planning. The way we see ourselves is being at kind of filling a gap in the market where you've got simple sustainability tools at one end and you've got the complex kind of full holistic financial planning tools, which are seen to be maybe overly complex. So we're filling that gap where we are easy to use and intuitive, but giving you the full sort of financial planning remit to be able to help engage with clients and empower clients to help make decisions based on sort of knowledge that you're providing them via all their goals. So whether they're simple or complex, you can answer them all using IntelliFlow planning because of the fact that it is easy to use and intuitive and just simply creating kind of an efficient process through the use of it with their clients.
Excellent. I think there's definitely a space in financial services around user-centred technology, that's for sure. If you were just to pull out a couple of the USPs of IntelliFlow planning, what would they be?
The first one, I think, is all about strengthening the client relationship. And that comes down through engaging visuals and getting the client to be able to interact with their financial plan. It can be as simple as showing them if they can retire early. It can be as simple as showing them they can spend more money. But if they don't interact with the plan and ask you questions there and then, and if you aren't able to adapt that plan through an easy to use bit of kit, so line of sight data entry, graphs that a client understands, visuals they can look at and actually think, yeah, that's good. I'm running out of money, I'm not. You're losing it. You're losing the whole impact of it because the client's not understanding what they're looking at. Therefore, they're not engaging with it and they're not interacting with the plan to the right extent. In terms of actual specific features and sort of USPs, the line of sight thing is massive because you don't want to be having to go around different parts of the system to link different assets to different expenses and different incomes, which then leads into kind of human error. I think there's so many times that you can have someone that forgets to link an income or turn off an income if they buy to let a property or anything like that, which can lead to a cash flow model being massively overestimated, which is just dangerous because you're giving the client a complete false sense of security. Off the back of that, then it's really important to be able to give a compliant and kind of robust approach. One of the best things that we have in terms of building scenarios and building outputs is that we have a highlighting feature which explains the inputs. But everything that you change away from the client's current situation gets highlighted in bold, yellow sort of highlighting to make it as clear as possible to the user exactly what they've changed. So if they start working on a Friday and they come to a Monday and they think, oh, what did I change or build in that scenario? It's clear as day in front of them in terms of a summary. But also in terms of the output, the client can see exactly what's changed, but also compliance can see exactly what's changed. So often a compliance manager will say to me, I've got 2 different outputs, but I've got no idea what's changed. From my perspective, actually summarizing it to them and saying this bit here has changed so they don't have to kind of keep going backwards and forwards through the documents is massively important and time saving.
That's really good to know, actually. I think it sounds obviously very practical. We need to keep a log on those changes. So what would be your take-home message for those who are watching us on the night for We Are Live? How can they find out more and what can they expect?
I think they can expect a fantastically visual cash flow experience where clients can engage and see the value that the advisor or the planner is providing to them. It's the tangible kind of amounts that you can say, yes, I've saved you this money, because every client, if you said to them, I'm going to save you £100,000 of tax over your lifetime through the planning I've implemented, who wouldn't want that? It's money in their pocket whilst they're still alive. It's a benefit to them there and then. So I think it's just really exciting to get these types of outputs that a client can actually get hold of and understand.
Fab. Thanks very much, Rob. That's been really helpful and will hopefully give people a lot more exciting teasers.
Brilliant. Nice to speak to you.
You too.
Welcome back. That was to coin that, quite funky, a bit fresh. For those that didn't know, IntelliFlow Planning is actually the rebrand from I4C, who was often our conference neighbour when we could get them out to conferences. However, back in the day this year, in the Back to the Future, we'll be back out the conferences. But they have recently just gone through a rebrand to IntelliFlow Planning, which we were talking about.
They did, and obviously I, being the marketing geek that I was, I did ask Rob about it because they'd not long gone live with their new brand at the time when I spoke to him. And actually it was really interesting because he was explaining the whole yellow highlight feature, which obviously came to life when we seen the demo, and just being able to track those changes just made it very visual, which is great generally when you're seeing what changes, and making sure that compliance remains your friend, because that they need to see what changes are happening. And talking of compliance, some friendly ones at that. Did you see what I did there?
Yeah, I think I said at the outset that kind of what we missed was getting out to events to see what was going on in the world, but also to kind of showcase what we were doing. And I also said that compliance is hard and it's challenging and it's ever evolving, which is exactly what we found out with Apricity. But we are absolutely loving it. We're getting into a rhythm with developments and getting feedback from firms and what they need. And so obviously we did a little video as well. I had a chat with Kim to talk through the Apricity service and just to showcase our technology a little bit too. So here's that. So, Kim, thank you for sitting down to talk a little bit about Apricity, and obviously that's one of the key reasons that we started this event in the first place. So, to start people off, can you tell us all about the Apricity technology in a 1-minute elevator pitch?
Sure. So, Apricity is a modern, forward-thinking compliance firm. It's a bespoke piece of software, and I just don't think it exists anywhere else out there on the market. So it pulls together all of your team's management T&C oversight. You can do file checks, tech queries through the system. You can manage all of your compliance on there. It gets rid of all the spreadsheets and all of the files and paper here, there and everywhere.
Clearly you've mentioned there getting rid of all the spreadsheets and starting to pull everything together, which is a big benefit we think of Apricity. What are the other key benefits do you think of the technology?
Yeah, so of course being able to manage everything in the one place. Like I say, you can have oversight of whatever your team's doing within the system as well, so it's a really nice easy way of managing what file check feedback they're getting, what CPD they're doing, when, the annual testing that they're doing. We've built in a compliance monitoring plan in there, so all of your key dates, anything that's happening throughout the year, you're going to get alerts, reminders when all of that is due. So it's just a good way of keeping business owners, your compliance officers on track with everything that they need to do throughout the year.
And you can centralise everything in one place as well, can't you, with documents to make sure everybody's working on the latest?
Absolutely, yeah. So part of the service that comes along with the software is an audit, and it's making sure that all of your documents are compliant, that they're all obviously stored within the system. So your team can go in there at any point and find the latest version of the documents that they should be working on, things that are branded up and personalised to the firm, and 2021 regulatory compliant.
Is there any other information that you want to get across for people that are watching tonight?
So yes, we do have a special offer, if you like. What we are doing is offering a 1-hour consultation with one of our compliance consultants. So it gives people a chance to have a third-party view, get a second opinion on any compliance issues that they might have currently, just any regulatory queries, and just take advantage of the experience that the consultants have got. So yes, if you'd like to take advantage of that, then just email me, kim@apricitycompliance.co.uk. But we are live in the title, but we'll be doing a follow-up with details from the event anyway.
Fab, thank you, Kim.
Oh my god!
Honestly, want
Amazing.
drumsticks.
How
Do.
amazing is that? Honestly, I feel a little Ted Hastings of a Jesus for the wee donkey.
And the wee donkey.
That is amazing.
It was a good one. I love a funky video. I think that might have been my favourite.
Oh yeah,
I mean, it's
shock
not
news.
fake,
Do you want to tell people how they can get into Apricity?
Yeah, absolutely. So Nat has
just a gog.
a gog. Nat's got some details on what we'll be doing in terms of follow-up for the whole event, but of course you can always sign up to Apricity with a 14-day trial, or the 1-hour consultation is available, as we mentioned. Of course, just feel free to get in touch. As Nat affectionately names me the mouth of the company. So it's affectionate. It's affectionate. But absolutely, we will be sending, as ever, post-event comms, first thing in the morning. It'll have all of the details with all of the tech providers that we have showcased today. It will also have information on there about how to get in touch around the Apricity stuff, and that free bank of RO questions as well that we promised for the Art Finance app.
Exciting. Oh, exciting. And that's it from us. It's just thank you. It's absolutely flown over. Thank you to all the exhibitors, all the people that have taken the time to chat with us and to send us a demo of their tech. We've genuinely learned so much through it because there's so much technology that was out there that we didn't know about.
I feel like we could have done this 3 times over.
Easily.
So much,
absolutely. Yeah.
It's not actually over yet, though, is it?
It's not actually over. It's not. It's never over. Yeah, thank you to everybody for watching, for joining in. Thank you for all the questions. We have been keeping an eye on them and the chat. We are going to go and pop into the lounge and get involved in the networking, and we'll answer what we can while we're in there. But as I mentioned, we'll also do a bit of a follow-up on it. 1st of September, pop it in your diary if you haven't already. The sponsors that have been involved so far with We Are Change, there's an extra little thing for them as our way of saying thank you for getting involved with We Are Change, to kind of get them involved with the conference and this philosophy of all working together as well. And yeah, keep an eye out for the Art Finance app. We'll let you know the second that that's alive. And just keep kind of doing what we're doing, keep working together, keep collaborating, developing finance, just making it a lovely, exciting, innovative place to be. So we're going to go and top up our wine, I think, and we'll see you in the networking lounge shortly. So thanks very much. See you soon.
See you soon.
All the live long day, all the live long day. I'll be moving along, singing my song, running around, ain't nothing wrong. All the live long day. I said all the live long day. Baby got her shoes on, she wants to move. Looking for trouble, honey, is it you? Feel the world under her feet, all the cracks up in the concrete. Take a step back, she's coming through. Baby looking shady, she's on the run. Maybe, just maybe she'll find the sun. I feel that sweet Indian summer, feel the heat out. Gotta feel the heat out. How did we do it? Sorry. All the live long day, all the live long day. I'll be moving along, singing my song, running around, ain't nothing wrong. All the live long day. I say all the live long day. Oh, you can't catch me, no. Oh, you can't let me go. I'm nobody's baby, so the live long day. Oh, you can't catch me, no. Oh, you can't let me go. I'm nobody's baby, so the live long day. All the live long day, all the live long day. I'll be moving along, singing my song, running around, ain't nothing wrong. All the live long day. I said all the live long day. All the live long day, all the live long day. I'll be moving along, singing my song, running around, ain't nothing wrong. All the live long day. I said all the live long day. live long day. All the live